People are dying to play dead on the hit CBS show NCIS. You'd think the countless pretend corpses who have appeared on the show just plainly lie there, dead AF. But if the show creators are to be believed, it's not all that simple. In today's video, we look into why playing a cadaver on NCIS might not be as much fun after all. First up, to be a dead body on NCIS. The CBS hit action thriller show NCIS has been running for quite a while and is super popular among the masses. The show gives the common man a dramatic insight on what it's like to be in the law enforcement, taking our criminals, analyzing forensics, and everyone's favorable bit, conducting autopsies. But what about those who end up on the autopsy table to play dead? You're covered in stitches, deep wounds, blood, a cloth thrown over your mostly naked body, and an ice-cold autopsy table. On the bright side, stars like Gibbs and Ducky are all over your fake corpse, trying to examine your fake wounds and what exactly caused your gruesome fake death. As a viewer, you may be surprised to learn that the majority of bodies the crew hovers over are actually living, breathing humans and are anything but dead. It all appears so simple and effortless, doesn't it? You pretend to be dead, don't move a muscle, and it's all done. Well, that's not really the case here. According to some of the CBS show's cast, playing an autopsy course on NCIS is a miserable experience. In fact, it may be the worst job on TV, but what could possibly be so bad about it? You just have to lay there and pretend dead, right? Well, yes and no. First off, we can see why anyone would be tempted to play dead on the show. You get to be on TV, you get to experience being on the set of NCIS surrounded by stars, and you get paid. All for just laying there for hours? Sounds like a deal to us. Well, turns out there's a lot of work that actually goes into it, and it's not all fun and games at the end of the day. But it's not for the faint-hearted. In a behind-the-scenes special called Inside NCIS Autopsy Bodies of Work, Mark Horowitz reveals that it can be one of the toughest jobs on the set. I tell them it's the worst job you will have. I rule out the faint of heart as early as possible. He claims it still does not deter a lot of people who apply to get the part of dead bodies because they believe it's super easy. With so many potential cadavers, Mark says he is quite picky with who he really gets to play dead on the show, as some end up ducking out at the last second due to the pressure of the role. Playing a corpse means acting and looking like a corpse, and according to the show's creators, many can't seem to hold their breath and keep their eyes still whether open or shut. Often the actors playing dead end up bailing out at the last moment because they're either too uncomfortable with their disturbing makeup or just can't seem to keep up with the stress that comes with the role. Yikes! We bet keeping your eyes still for long periods of time along with you holding your breath, all the while you're naked and cold, must be harder than it looks. Now, actors on playing dead on NCIS. Mark is not the only member of the team that warns potential autopsy dead bodies about the horrors they're about to face. Even the main members of the cast who haven't acted dead themselves have expressed how grueling it is to be a corpse on NCIS. Dietzen, who portrays Ducky's replacement as NCIS coroner, too shares the same sentiment. It's cold. You're laying there on a metal table naked for hours with your privates exposed. Dietzen has been in the morgue performing autopsies for the show for years and is the closest to the pretend cadavers and what they have to endure to be on the mortuary slab. According to the actor, it's like living an anxiety dream that you simply can't escape, and it's terrifying. Dietzen isn't the only actor on the show who has opinions about this role, as his colleague and actor David McCullum also felt sorry for the poor actors who just come along and pretend to be dead on a cold steel slab. Apparently, the cast and crew try their best to make the stressed out extras comfortable on set with snacks and strong lights around to keep them warm. Aw, how thoughtful. There is, of course, claustrophobia. If stress and pressure weren't enough, there's another factor that scares the absolute hell out of many actors: claustrophobia. Being put into a tiny metal drawer and shut into a small restricted space is a nightmare for a lot of people, and being claustrophobic is one of the most common fears that many have, which is why Mark Horowitz makes sure to mention all about it to his potential cadavers. He claims it's not a role for people with a lot of phobias and fears. While it may sound like a scary gig, this role has also helped many conquer very real lifelong phobias. One such success story that came out during the shooting was of an actor who played a petty officer, Lamar Finn, in season 13. The actor, Walter Fauntleroy, was terrified of being shut in a tight drawer, but surprisingly, still managed to stick to his role and overcame his claustrophobia. Walter claims that being moved in and out of small drawer repeatedly throughout the shoot helped him not only face his fear, but also get over it a great deal. Would you look at that? Finally, something good came out of it. Then there is the anxiety of it all. Claustrophobia isn't the only fear that might scare the daylights out of the pretend cadavers. Imagine being thrown on a cold slab with all kinds of lights and horrid, bloody wounds all over you while you just lay there, naked, and pretend dead. Does the mere thought itself not induce anxiety and stress? We mean, playing dead for fun and actually looking and playing dead in a proper setting are two different things that many probably don't take into consideration before appearing on the show. You're living and experiencing death before your time. Being treated like a lab rat that's constantly toyed with by morticians around you is probably not the best experience one could have. Yes, even though the morticians are some of the most popular TV stars, it's not exactly how you had imagined hanging out with them. The only fake body on set is you. The gear, actors, set, lights, and everything around you is very real and jarring. Anyone is bound to get anxious and uncomfortable, especially when a scene or an episode episode stretches for longer periods of time. So why doesn't the show just use dummies? A lot of people have often wondered why the show doesn't just opt for regular human-looking prosthetic dummies instead of torturing real humans. Well, sometimes they do, but the show creators claim they would rather use an actual human body unless there's absolutely no way it can be done. To put it simply, the human cadaver looks more realistic because it is real. The use of makeup, special effects, and certain lighting can really make one look deceased. Another reason to use a real person is because most of these characters are previously seen alive on the show. Using a prosthetic in such scenarios is not suitable for a number of reasons. According to the show's creators, even though prosthetic bodies are sometimes super real looking, there's something about real human skin and how it works with makeup and light that a prosthetic just can't seem to mimic. As a show that has a dead body in almost every episode, it sure must be incredibly time-taking to create a dead dummy for each one, but apparently at times the situation calls for one. Let's look into the use of dummies. Artists can replicate some of the craziest injuries and wounds with makeup and special effects. However, sometimes certain injuries can be faked on a real human body. When the script calls for a seriously maimed victim, a real human isn't the answer. Mark Horowitz claims that very expensive dummies are used in such scenes after the creative team sends an order to a creative company specializing in prosthetics. A plastic cast is made of the actor's face and body, where their skin, eyes, and hair are extremely detailed and take a while to come into form. This super realistic looking head then gets attached to a pre-made body that matches it. The process is not only costly, but also quite long, which can also be a problem when it comes to filming and scheduling of the show. When do we see more of it? As creepy as it may sound, people actually do enjoy viewing these specific scenes of badly injured cadavers on the slab, and many want to see more of it, leaving the viewers curious about the next season. For now, the creators of NCIS are keeping it low-key and tight-lipped about the details on another season. With the current season soaring in popularity and gaining millions of views per episode, it makes no sense why the network would want to cancel it just yet. There's been no confirmation about season 20 though, so keep watching this space for more news on NCIS and its cast. With that, it's a wrap for today's video. Would you be interested in playing dead on your favorite TV show? See you in the next one.